Hi, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Alec. Today in Info in the Morning, we're going over the gender roles of the Igbo community. Let's begin.
Gender roles played a key part in the Igbo community. Shown in the book, Things Fall Apart.
In Things Fall Apart, gender roles were in everything. From war to crops, men were supposedly the superior sex.
Essentially, all of Igbo life was gendered. The world had evolved into a patriarchal society, which men were superior to women in every way.
Well, almost every way, Patrick. Let's go. Women were essential to the Igbo life for 3 reasons. Number 1, to make a pure bride.
I have brought a goat for your daughter.
She is worth 5 goats!
No! 2 goats.
3 goats and a chicken.
I don't know.
She's a very pure bride.
Okay.
Alright. Number 2, to make a submissive wife.
You didn't cook dinner!
I made fish! And number 3, to bear many children. Push! It's a girl!
So, even though women were still inferior to men, women were still regarded highly in Igbo society?
Exactly, Patrick.
But I was raised believing that men and women were entirely equal.
Well, that's exactly what you were, and they should be. But back then, they were raised believing that men were superior to women. Like this quote.
Yeah. This quote says, he wanted Naiwa to grow into a tough young man, capable of ruling his father's household. And so he, Okonkwo, was happy when he heard him grumbling about women. That showed that in time, he would become able to control his womenfolk. No matter how prosperous a man was, if he was unable to rule his women and his children, he was not a man.
So you see, children were raised with the basis that they, being men, were superior to women. So, at an early age, the older men would do whatever they could, from severe beatings to, a light tap on the wrist, to make sure that they would get rid of any feminist trait in the boy's body. But for the women on the other side, the women folk raised them to be weak and subservient, like the perfect woman, supposedly. Even in agriculture, men were seen as the superior being above women.
Like with yams.
Yams?
Yes, Alec. Yams. Yams were the most important crop, so of course...
Only men grew them?
Bingo! You see, by the transitive property of gender, men were superior to women.
Of course, now there's no rule on who can grow yams and any other important crop, men and women being equal.
True, but until the last 100 years, women haven't had the ability to vote.
So I guess when you look at it, back then, our gender roles in culture weren't all that different.
True, but we mustn't forget that they held a very heavy hand with their women.
Which doesn't bode well for the women of that society.
Very true.
Let's go!
Yeah, and often, women were mistreated and even beaten, just because there was no rules against it.
Yeah, like Okonkwo in this quote. And when she returned, he beat her heavily.
Well, that's just a cultural norm back then. I mean, it just shows a large gap between men and women.
Yeah, men thought they were the superior being, so they treated women barely better than property.
I know. But of course, as we've gone over, women were still regarded highly.
Like in religion.
Yeah, like Allah, the goddess of earth and fertility.
Or Ahia Najuku, the goddess of yams, which of course was important since yams was their most important crop.
But of course, their religion was male-centered.
Well, just about everything was back then, Patrick.
Yes. They were very focused on trying to keep their society patriarchal.
Yeah, like Okonkwo, the main character of Things Fall Apart. He devalued anything feminine at all.
But that's not uncommon. It's found in every culture, even ours.
Yeah, no boy wants to lose to a girl.
Yeah, but there are barriers trying to prevent women from being successful for a long time.
So really our cultures aren't all that different.
Exactly.
Well, that's all for today's episode of Info in the Morning. I'm Professor Alec.
And I'm Dr. Patrick.
Have a good day.